Okay, so I'll upload it to YouTube and post it to the presenter's toolkit when we're done. So, good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming today. I'm Lucy Gray. I'm based in Chicago, in the suburbs of Chicago, and have run this conference for a number of years. First, as the Global Education Conference with a guy named Steve Hargadon, and then during the pandemic, we took a little bit of a hiatus, and I came back and retooled it, and it became Global Learning for an Open World about 4 years ago. So I run it solo with help from the Charter for Compassion, from other volunteers um, and helpers along the way. And it's meant to be a virtual convening where people are coming together from all over the world to share education best practices around innovation. There is an emphasis on global competence and global citizenship, but we've kind of expanded our view of this to include things like we have a lot of AI presentations this year, because that's a hot topic here, at least in the US. So we typically have about 100 presentations, if not more, from people all over. 90 plus countries are usually represented in the presenters and um, in the attendees. We have, I don't know, every year it varies in terms of how many people we have attending. Between 800 and 1,100 has been what we've had the last few years. It really depends on how well we all get the word out to people and let them know about the conference. It is free for people to attend the live events. If they want the recordings, there is a small fee if people want to do that. So that's a little bit about where we're coming from. My background is in educational technology. I'm a former classroom teacher. I wear a lot of different hats, but I really, really, really love doing these virtual events because of the accessibility and the equity that it provides. Not everybody can travel to a fancy conference and spend a lot of money. It's also not great for the environment to travel all the time. And so this is one way. It's not the same as being in person, but it's one way for people um, to come together and learn from each other from various corners of the world. So that's a little bit about that. Hopefully this will give you some information about how, where you can get help and that sort of thing. Some resources have been provided for you, including that are in the slides here. They're also in the presenter's toolkit. The support center for Ring Central looks like this, and there are sections for attendees and organizers and presenters. So you can search this website and find information and common questions in general. So that's one place to get help. Another place to get help is um, the toolkit, which you may have already looked at, hopefully. This is a Notion site that I update periodically with information for presenters. And this, this important links page is probably the most useful to you in terms of where to find things. I put kind of the crucial stuff up here. Somebody pointed out to me today that I had the wrong link in the email to you for acceptance for registering for training sessions. And so it was corrected in the email for people who just got accepted. And in the toolkit, the correct ones have been here all this time. So this is where you can come to as many training sessions as you want to. Every one is a little bit different. But here, the important links page kind of has everything that you might need to get started with things. So there are different sections here. There's also, I will update the presenter directory as we get closer to the conference. There's also, there are Spanish pages here as well, and they should be, I think they're listed down here, and they look like they're not public right now, so I need to make sure that they're published. But we do have the pages translated through AI for our Spanish strand as well. It's really nice that um, Notion is a really interesting tool for doing translations and that sort of thing. So I'm really glad that I'm grateful to have it and use it. So in addition to those resources, um, let's see, I need to go back here, I think. Um, There we go. There is you can for people who are speaking on stages, which is one kind of room, they can book a session with me for me to kind of lead them through that. There's also a flyer that you can distribute to friends and colleagues here. It is translatable. When you're looking at the public version of this, there's a translate button at the top of it. So this has all the information about the event, and feel free to share that widely with people. And then let's see what other fun things I have to show you. So that's some of the kind of key places to find things. I think with these virtual conferences, knowing where to go is always half the battle in terms of getting oriented. And hopefully, those websites will help you get situated. Um, on November 1st, I'm hoping to have the final schedule, all the scheduling done, and I will be sending you a spreadsheet that has a link to your room. If you're in a session room, it will have a link to a stage if you're on a stage, which is mostly our keynotes and featured speakers. These links are for you to get in early and be able to practice in your room. I was hoping that I would have them tonight, but we extended the deadline for proposals, and so everything's pushed forward a little bit. I know November 5th, we're going to have one last meeting, really, to kind of get everybody excited about the conference and to ask final questions and to support each other. I also will be doing more training sessions as needed between now and November 19th. So I will update the Zoom link for additional sessions if you need to come and do more training. So thank you for being part of this. You're really essential to this process, um, and it, we need you to help get the word out and to spread the word about what you're doing and what the conference is doing. So this is a community effort. We don't have a big budget for advertising. And so, in fact, we have like zero budget for advertising. So it really helps if everybody uses social media and email and whatever to send out the flyer or to send emails to people inviting them to the conference. And so please, we want to fill the rooms as much as we can with people. It's not fun to present when there's nobody in your room, which doesn't happen very often, but it could. Typically 60 to 70%, anywhere between 50 to 70% of our registrants show up online at some point because of time zones. Some people may come later and watch recordings. So don't be distressed if you don't have a huge audience in your room. People will watch the recordings and will follow up with you potentially afterwards. So, that's, one of the ways of getting around the time zone issue is to have, asynchronous and synchronous consumption of our sessions. And the other part of this is we really want to build we used to have, I think, a stronger global community when 15 years ago, when educational technology was really starting out and people were diving into social media. I felt here in the United States that we had a lot of people that were connecting face to face at conferences, but also online, and um, we were able to share best practices outside of our siloed situations. And it was really empowering and really exciting. And I think in the last few years, because of the pandemic, because of the how social media has evolved, it's technology has gotten a little bit of a bad rap. And what we're trying to do here is reinvigorate teachers and educators of all types, given how things have been kind of rough the past few years. And this is, again, this is not the same as meeting face to face, but it's one way to grow your professional learning network. And you all are part of this and crucial to it. So thank you for being part of this. We do have promotional resources, as I've mentioned before. In the toolkit, we have social media graphics where in Canva, where you can make a copy. You just click on it and it should give you a template if you have a Canva account, and you can edit them as however you see fit. We have that conference flyer, as I mentioned before. So please use those to, as widely spread the word with those things, as I've mentioned before. Right now, here's some examples of kind of tweets that you can use or social media posts. If you are a video person, like I'm not totally great with TikTok, but I can fake it if I have to. It seems to me that video seems to be the way to get people um, engaged these days. So if you are adept at those kinds of technologies, feel free to make videos to promote the conference in your session. Um, you can use our graphics or whatever you need, and you can tag it with our tags, which are Glow EDU and Glow 2025. Um, think about other places that you can post about the conference. I use some Facebook groups to post in regularly and some LinkedIn groups, but you may have other professional networks where you might want to share your work with them. There are a couple that I've been meaning to reach out to that I haven't done yet, so I'm going to be doing a lot of that the next few weeks. If you're working in a school or organization that has the ability to or wants to promote what their teachers are doing, ask your school to mention this in their social media if you're comfortable with that. So those are just a few ideas on how to promote. And we have a couple examples of social media posts that you can use or adapt as you see fit. So, we also have other ones that you can copy and paste in the presenter's toolkit if you want to see some examples of that. In terms of of setting up for the conference, there's some technical things that are really important. One is that you use either Microsoft Edge or Chrome. I recommend Chrome as being probably your best option. You may have compatibility issues with other browsers like Safari, unfortunately, and I don't know about Firefox, but really Chrome and Edge are the ones that seem to be pushed by RingCentral Events, our platform. RingCentral Events used to be called Hopin, by the way, and then RingCentral here in the United States bought Hopin. It used to be a European-owned company, I believe, and changed the name to RingCentral Events. If you're going to use slides in your presentation, I recommend something web-based like Google Slides. We have a template for you to use with required slides for the beginning and the end of your presentation. You can adapt them as you see fit. They're in the toolkit. If you click on a link to the slides in the toolkit, it will ask you to make a copy of the Google Slides, and it will make it in your own Google Drive. If you want to make a copy and download them and use them in PowerPoint, that's fine too. PowerPoint is a little tricky to present with on the platform, but it's okay. And then if you also are a fan of Canva and using Canva slides, that's fine too. Anything that's web-based seems to be okay. If you're going to use Keynote, Apple Keynote, which I love because it's such a beautifully designed program, it doesn't work that well. You don't need all these fancy transitions and things like that in general. Um, the simpler the better for an online conference, just because there might be lag in the timing for people viewing your slides. So I would keep them fairly simple if I were you. Um, the other thing that's really critical is in Chrome, you need to make sure that your microphone and your video are enabled. And typically, if you go up to the left-hand corner of your screen, you'll see something where you might be able to do that. Also, that little slider thing usually lets you enable things. Also, on the right-hand side of Chrome, there is it's under, let's see, it's under settings and then privacy and security. And you want to make sure that you have your cameras enabled, your camera here and your microphone. It's you want to have this enabled so that you're able to be heard and seen during the conference. This is the probably the biggest problem I've seen is people have not practiced or tried this ahead of time and it ends up being a problem for them. So, after doing several of these conferences, I now feel like I know what the pitfalls are, and this is the biggest one. So please make sure that you have that set. There is a pre-event check link that's in the toolkit. It's also pops up when you try to go into a session room, and it will lead you through a process to put a background in your in your camera with your camera, and to test your audio and your video and your bandwidth, your internet connectivity. So you may want to try that at some point to make sure everything's working well, and I'll show you where that is in a minute. I'm going to take a break and answer some of your questions in a second. Um, but let me get through a little bit more first. Um, there are two different kinds of sessions, really short 20-minute ones, which should be focused and to the point. You can do some Q&A with it if you want to, and I'll go into that in a minute. The general sessions are 50 minutes. We'd like you to be able to end before the hour, the top of the hour, so that people have time to transition to their next session or to take a break if they need to. So, plan on presenting if you're a 50-minute person, 20 to 40 minutes and leaving the rest of the time for Q&A and then time for people to transition to their next rooms. Most people are going to be in session rooms. And this is kind of hard to understand unless you've seen it. Uh, the rooms can be open, which means anyone can turn on their microphone and video and be part of the room, just like we are in Zoom right now. Uh, so if you asked for an open room, you're going to not have access to all the presenting features with this type of room, and everybody will be able to open their camera and their microphone. And that's fine if you want that. Um, it's great for conversations and things where you want to be spontaneous. Like if you're doing a birds of a feather session on a topic and you want everybody to participate, that's ideal for that. Moderated rooms, you get all of the interactive tools like confetti and breakout rooms and things like that. And I recommend that you can still have people turn on their audio and video, but they have to ask permission first, and you have to grant that permission. So I recommend moderated. It's up to you how you want to do it. There is some new features in this year. There is a feature where you can share materials now. So if you have slides or a handout you want to give people digitally, there's a tab in your session room where you can do this. I also recommend using the Q&A tool, which allows people to specifically put their questions in a queue so that you can look at them a little bit more quickly than just looking at the regular chat. There are breakout rooms that work very similar to Zoom. They are not recorded. There's a poll feature you can use, and there's the live chat that accompanies each session room. You can also now, and I think this is fairly new too, put your own background up. Like I have a background here in Zoom. You can do that now in RingCentral Events. You can make your own custom one. I think I have some examples in the toolkit, or you can just blur your background if you want to do that, if you're concerned about privacy and that sort of thing. I think it looks a little bit more professional if you have a background, but it's really up to you. For people who are presenting on a stage, uh, it requires a moderator to put you on stage. And so those people need to book an appointment with me if they want to do things ahead of time to practice. That's all I'll say about stages right now. They're a little bit more front facing. They're not as interactive. Um, they're just a different kind of room in general. I think the session rooms are actually the most flexible. In terms of recording, um, stages have to be recorded by us. We have to click a button. The moderator has to click a button to make that happen. In session rooms, they start recording automatically as soon as you turn on your audio and video. So you may turn on your audio and video while you're setting up. Recording is going to happen, which is okay. It's not a big deal. It's not going to necessarily be published. But like we had some people a couple years ago not realize that it was being recorded. I guess maybe I didn't thoroughly explain this in training. And they were talking about their pot smoking habits when they were in college, and it was recorded. Not with part of their presentation, but I was able to delete it for them. But they were mortified. And so just be aware. I think it's important to be aware when you're online anywhere these days that you have the chance of being recorded. So, so I deleted it and everything was fine. I can edit the videos too. The end and the beginning and the end are the easiest place for me to edit them. I really don't want to go in and edit the middle of a presentation. My suggestion to you is that um, you get set up and you try things out, make sure everything's working, then turn your audio and video off. And right when you're going to start, turn them back on, and then a new recording will start that's clean. Um, so I'll show you how that works in a minute. We will publish your recordings. They'll be available to everybody in the platform during the conference. They'll be on a website just for the presenters and for the paid ticket holders afterwards, and we'll send you the link. The videos are not downloadable though in that setting. We will download the videos for you and put them up in a folder where you can grab them. And you're welcome to do whatever you want with your own video in terms of posting it to YouTube or whatever you'd like to do with it. It's your video to share. So the slide template that's mentioned here is in the presenter's toolkit. I just finished it last week, and I'll show you where that is if you have questions. So let me stop and pause for a second and see if we have any questions. It's 3 in the morning and you're up here, Rihan. Oh my goodness. Any questions so far in terms of things? Okay, I guess no news is good news. All right, let me keep going here and I'll try and be quick. So in terms of designing your presentation, again, keep it simple. Make it high contrast. Don't put a ton of text on your slides. Use a larger font. And think about your audience too. Some of our attendees speak multiple languages. Idioms and acronyms and that sort of thing may not be fully understood by or appreciated by people. So make sure that you explain those things or you keep your language fairly simple. Um, and you might want to speak your visuals for accessibility, meaning that you're explaining what you're showing, so that if somebody's listening to this rather than viewing it, they understand where you're coming from. Um, our audience is going to be from all over the world with very diverse backgrounds and that sort of thing. And so if you think about, if you design for accessibility, it will help everyone in general. There is a prep checklist here and in the toolkit. Um, Make sure to promote, practice, test your technology, and on the day of your presentation, come into your room 15 to 20 minutes early to get ready. And we will have moderators who will not introduce you necessarily. If you want them to, they probably would, but they'll be checking on rooms and making sure everybody's good to go. So people will you won't be left onto your own devices. We'll have people that will be there to assist you if you have any issues. Lightning talks, here are some strategies for uh, making them interactive and interesting to people. There are tools that you can use, for instance, polling and the live chat and that sort of thing to kind of get people involved in what you're doing. People are very eager to share and learn from you. Very often I ask people, it's in the presenter slides. I ask people to introduce themselves in the chat and indicate where they are in the world. When we used to do this conference with Blackboard Collaborate many years ago, there was a tool that everyone could use where they could put like a little dot on a map to indicate where they were. We don't have that in Ring Central events. I wish we did. It was a really nice feature because it brought everybody together and everybody could ooh and ah over the countries that were represented. So keep in mind some of these tips here. You also might want to point out at the beginning of your presentation that there's a Q&A queue as well as the chat. And if they have questions, they should put them in the Q&A chat so you can see them readily. And if they have comments, you might want to put them in the chat. So those are some of the things that you can think about as you're prepping. Here are some other tips for virtual presentations. If you look at the camera instead of your screen, which I'm not doing right now, I don't even think I have my camera. I'm not even sure if I'm using the right camera right now. Um, it makes a difference. You also want to have good lighting. If you're presenting in the dark, it won't look great. So make sure that you have a light on. If you have a ring light or something like that, that always helps, but you don't have to have something like that. But these are some tips here for successfully presenting. The other piece that's important, and I'll show you what that looks like in a moment, is screen sharing. When you're going to share your slides that are hopefully web-based, um, through a tab, not the whole window or the whole screen. You have the option for sharing a tab, a window, or the whole screen on your computer. I recommend sharing just the tab where your slides are located. It just looks more professional. It's a little tricky to kind of get the hang of this because it opens up your slides. You're going to have two windows basically to navigate between the window where you're presenting and the window where your slides are. If you've ever used Google Meet, I think Google Meet also shares the same way. But if you're used to Zoom like we are using right now, yeah, it doesn't open up in a separate tab like Ring Central Events does. So I'll show you that in a minute. You also may want to not have 5 million um, tabs open so that you can navigate easily. You may want to turn off notifications on your device. By the way, there is an app that people have presented from before. It's really not meant for presenting, it's more meant for consuming the conference. And it's great because you can see the schedule and see who's in and who's online and that sort of thing. But I wouldn't present from it necessarily. I think the best way to do is from a computer. Um, but if you're planning to present from the app that Ring Central has for Google Play or for the Apple Store, you may want to really practice that ahead of time and make sure it's going to work the way that you want it to. I don't recommend it necessarily. It's great for consuming and attending the conference, but not for presenting. Some of the issues that we run into technically are very often is the audio and video piece that I mentioned earlier. If people don't have their permission set in their browser to enable audio and video, that's the number one problem. Sometimes even if you've done that, it's not working properly. If you leave the room and come back, sometimes that fixes it. Um, so here's some, another issue may be not that many people in your session. You can advertise your session in the main event chat if you'd like. And if you have people who have a lot of questions or difficult questions, you can always meet them afterwards on our platform. You can actually schedule meetings with individual people, up to 20 people at a time, actually. So if you want to take the conversation out of your session and into, a session, a meeting room, you can do that if you'd like. Uh, Again, we've talked a little bit about timing. It's not a great idea if you go over your time limit. Nothing's going to stop you from doing that, but it prevents people from going to the next set of sessions. So just be cognizant of time and think about that. Again, you do have interactive tools at your disposal, polls, Q&A, chat, breakout rooms, material sharing. Those are all in your session room, okay? Please don't use, there are also these tools are available in the whole event chat. please don't use them. You can use the chat in the event chat, but make sure that you're using these tools in the right space at the right time. And I'll show you what I mean when I get to the demo part of it. Here's a day of presentation checklist that you can use to make sure that you're ready to go, and some suggestions for what to do after your session. Again, here are some of the resources I mentioned at the beginning. And most of all, I want you to have fun with this. Um, and hopefully you'll make some friends, that professional friends that you can collaborate with after the conference somehow, or you'll perhaps your classes can meet somehow virtually. We really want you to have fun and be relaxed about this. Um, this is not meant to be a high pressure environment. We want, you know, uh, people presenting who are new to presenting online, and we have people who are more experienced with this sort of thing. And I think that you'll feel, if you've never done this sort of thing before, it may seem daunting right now, but when you're done, you're going to feel really confident and be glad that you went through this. It's definitely a learning curve. You are acquiring new skills that are essential for communicating and collaborating in this day and age, I think. So these are some final tips to leave you with. And then again, our final checklist here: promote, share the flyer, practice in your room, come to our last orientation, which is November 5th, if you can. And, that's kind of it in a nutshell. So I'm going to switch now to the conference platform. And let me stop sharing for a second, and I'll do a really quick overview of what it looks like in a session room, because I think this is important. And again, you're going to get a link to your room that you can get into the conference early, and you can practice in your room. And maybe like a week before the conference starts, we'll open up everything to people so they can come in and uh try the platform, and use our speed networking tool and that sort of thing. So let me reshare again. So it looks like this right now, and you can preview the event. There's also, by the way, there's something that says create your profile. You do want to fill this personal profile in. You will have a presenter profile that I will create for you. Um, but this is your personal profile, which you need to make sure that you update at some point. And you can indicate your interest in that sort of thing and your role and in education. And if you do our speed networking tool, it will match you with similarly like-minded individuals if you want to try that. So your profile is really helpful. So make sure that you do that ahead of time too. This is what the event looks like right now. On the left-hand side, you'll see buttons that go to various areas of the conference. In the middle, will see our reception page, which is kind of like the home page. And there's some information here for people, including information about our sponsors. And then on the right-hand side, you're going to see an event chat and event polls and all the people who are part of the conference, and Q&A for the whole event, and docs. This is where people can upload materials. Now, this is for the event tab. See here how event is in bold? This is for the whole conference. This is not for a session room. The other tab here is your agenda. If you bookmark sessions that you want to go to, they will appear in your own personalized schedule. You will also notice that there's a schedule a meeting tool here where you can invite people to meetings if you'd like to have one on the platform. You can also look through who's coming to the conference, and you can invite them to a video call or schedule a meeting or send them a direct message. Some people may mute people and block people from doing that. Hopefully they don't do that, but there's a way to do it. I think there's these three buttons right here these three dots on the right-hand side. You can mute a person or block the person or report them. We've never had anybody misbehave really in any of our events, but these tools are here that will alert us if there's a problem. The reporting piece will definitely alert me if there's a problem. So just so you know, you can do that if somebody's bothering you. And you can also opt out not to be contacted by anybody else other than us, organizers. And that is under your profile settings. Okay, so this is what the conference platform looks like. A session room looks like this. And this is a test room that I have open right now for demonstration purposes. So when you come in, notice on the right that there's now three tabs. There is the event tab, there is the agenda tab, and there's a session tab. So this is the chat for this session room. And this is, if you're in a session presentation, which I think most of you are, uh, you'll have your own chat, your own poll section. People will show you who's in your room. You have your own Q&A queue and your own little section for uploading any handouts you want people to have access to. So make sure you're posting in the session, not in the main one. It's really easy to do, to be here and thinking that you're posting in your room and you're not. So I will try to also make these a different color so that you can differentiate between them before the event. So this is a session room. And if you're moderated, if you have a moderated room and you're selected as the moderator, which I assign all the speakers as moderators to their rooms, you can join the stage at any time and the recording will start. I'm not going to do that right this second. And also people can, there's a button usually on the upper right-hand corner. It doesn't show for me because I'm an admin. There's a button here where people can request to join your stage if they don't have permission. And you can ignore it or you can grant them permission. And you do that under the tools that are located in the lower left-hand corner. It doesn't show up for me right now because nobody's requested it. But if somebody had requested access to this room to turn on their audio and video, it would show here. The other tools that you have access to are breakout rooms, which work very similar to Zoom. There's a session banner that you can have displayed. It looks like this on the right-hand side. You can put a link to your website or, something that you want people to do. And you can have it show for 1 minute or 50 minutes, however long you want it to show on the screen. Um, there is some attendee engagement tools, confetti, emojis, raising hand. If you don't want people to do that sort of thing, which might be kind of annoying, I don't know, you can turn them off. And then there are different layouts for showing how you appear with your slides and your screen. So those are really important tools. Then under the stage area, there's also something that will say share screen and share YouTube video if I have to enable it. And to share a screen, you don't want to share a window or the entire screen. It looks goofy and it's hard to navigate. My recommendation is to put your slides in a separate tab, and then have it ready to go here. So here's my presentation that I was showing you. I'm going to have it in a tab. I'm going to click on that tab and then click on share. And what happens is it opens up and it goes to that tab. And you're like, where's my room? Where'd it go? My room is right, let me find it. It is right here. So here my slides are showing in the room, and I can still look at, monitor the chat in here and see what's going on. But I can also go back to my slides and move my slides along as I present. Notice that there is this sharing this tab button up here. You can toggle back and forth between this on this link here. So it makes it really easy to go back and forth between your slides and the presenting room if that the session room, if that makes sense. When you're ready to stop sharing, you click on stop sharing, and then you can go back to your room where you're presenting, which is over here. Um, and I didn't join the stage. I just shared my screen. I do also want to join the stage at some point. So if I click on join stage, it's going to um, ask me, like right now, it's asking me what camera I'm going to use. And my camera is actually not really doing what it's supposed to be doing. I'm going to turn it off right now. It's supposed to be following me, and it's not. I use an external camera. Um, well, actually, let me put this. You can also choose a background here or upload your own. And there's my background. So instead of my green screen now, I have a background showing. You can choose if you have different cameras or mics, you can choose those. There's some other settings that are kind of fun down below. There's something that gives a softer light and another thing that touches up the video. I have no idea if that really makes a difference. And there's a slider that lets you remove the noise if you have lots of background noise. So you can turn those on or if you or not. And that's what it looks like so far. And then there's something called the pre-event check. And this is what you can do. You can run this to test your camera, your microphone, your connectivity, and it helps you troubleshoot any issues that you might have. So so you may want to run that too, and then you apply your selection and you're on stage. So there's some settings here for muting and that sort of thing, and for emojis. Um, I'm going to share my screen again to show you what that looks like. I click on share screen. I click on my slides. I click on share, and I am now sharing my slides, and I'm down below. So here I am down below. If I want to change how the layout looks, I can change it, and have it be like this, or have my picture cropped or filled. It doesn't matter. I don't think there's one way I think it's nice to have the slides nice and big. And you also might want to put them in presentation mode too, by the way. This one, Cinema just does your slides and your voice and mic are still enabled. But it's only showing your slides. It's not showing your persona. Um, so these are some of the things that you may want to play around with. This is what float looks like. I don't think I can move it around. But depending on what your presenters, how many presenters are in your set you have presenting, you may want to play around with those layouts. Again, I can go back to my slides here and move my slides this way, and people can still hear me speak and everything. And I can go back here to check on how everything is going. When I'm done, I can click on stop sharing and my slides go away. Notice in the upper right-hand corner, I am recording. So this is all being recorded in RingCentral right now. It's not published though. Us organizers have to publish videos afterwards, and usually we can tell which one is your official presentation. So don't really worry about that. If you do want to stop recording while you're getting set up, make sure you click on stop sharing audio and video. It's not hard to do. It just takes a little bit of getting used to. If you wait till the last minute to do this, you'll be nervous and it will be a nerve-wracking experience. So I recommend that you try to get in there and practice ahead of time. But that's about it in terms of showing you kind of the nuts and bolts. And I want to be um, I want to be aware of your time and that sort of thing. I'm wondering if you have any questions or anything I have not made clear tonight.
Thank you, Lucy. Everything clear on my end. I think very detailed, comprehensive presentation, very
Okay.
useful. Thank you.
Okay, great. And I think the most important thing for you is going to be getting that link so you can get in there and practice. And, you know, don't stress out about this. We'll be there to help you. Um, and it's really kind of it's a really fun conference. So I'm really looking forward to learning from you and getting to know you, and hopefully you'll get involved with some more of our conferences. We're doing so the student conference is next week for the Charter for Compassion. It's a much smaller scale thing, a little bit more digestible. And then we're also doing a Democratic Summit in January that's cross-sector. That's for anyone that's doing anything related to activating more citizens. Because obviously democracy is um, under stress, not just here in the United States, but in other places. And so one of my personal goals is to think about how do we teach people to be more involved in their communities for the better of humanity. And so that call for proposals is open through December 1st. And our keynote speaker is going to be a professor from Harvard named Howard Gardner, who has written a lot about good citizens, and his son is going to interview him. So I'm really excited about that. His son is a friend of mine, and they're doing this big favor for me, and it will be great. So lots going on. Really happy to have you all involved. And if you have any questions, bug me anytime. Okay? Yeah, it is exciting. I'm excited. Okay. Thanks for coming, everyone. And you'll hear a lot more from me in the next month about, do this and do that. Okay?
Thank
All
you.
right.
Have a great evening.
Have a good
Bye.
day. Bye,
Bye.
everyone.